My name's Duddits, I do builds and stuff, and today I've got a build all based around the Wicked Implement, the Stasis Scout Rifle. We're going to make this thing do some absolutely massive damage, trust me, and it's a really good endgame scout. Excellent for all different types of champions. The Wicked Implement, exotic Stasis Scout Rifle, rapidly landing precision hits, causes targets to become slurred. There's a slowing, freezing effect, which is all good against different types of champions. It's also got the perk on their Tithing Harvest. Destroyed stasis crystals or precision final blows while creeping attrition is active. Creates a stasis shard that returns to you. Collecting stasis shards, refill the magazine. The catalyst has been upgraded. It's got a headstone on there now, and collecting the stasis shards created gradually overflows the magazine. This thing is an absolute monster. And what I want to do is show you how to get some absolutely huge damage increase on this. 4494. Watch what happens when I freeze him. It's instantaneously going to go up to 6404. That is all because of a fragment on the stasis called Whisper of Rending. Primary ammo weapons do increased damage to stasis crystals and frozen targets. It's a 42% damage increase, and because we're freezing things all the time with the scout rifle, it's just an excellent fragment to run. So straight off the bat, just by freezing them, whether you do it with your stasis abilities or with the actual gun, you're going to get a 42% damage increase, which is already pretty nice. This also stacks with stasis weapon surges. You can run 1, 2, 3 of these, whatever you wish. I only run 2 of these, which will explain why at the end. But Whisper of Rending and stasis weapon surges all stacked together. You'll see here I've got my armor charge going on, and you're going to see a further increase of damage. 6404 was the number without the armor charge, and now what you're going to see is it go up to 7045. So that's just to show rending is stacking with stasis weapon surges. Monochromatic Maestro is another absolutely insane mod to run this season. Dealing elemental ability damage increases matching weapon damage, and matching elemental damage is also going to boost your stasis weapons. And look at this, with a turret you can constantly get a constant supply of this Monochromatic Maestro, and that's going up even further to 8242. The original shot was 4494, all the way up to there. It's 83% damage increase, and with gloves like the OSMIOMANCY gloves that give you 2 cold snap grenades, you can constantly freeze things forever, especially if you run it with the Bleak Watcher aspect, where you can convert your grenades into like little mini turrets. So Monochromatic Maestro is an absolutely awesome seasonal perk to run this season. Dealing elemental ability damage increases matching weapon damage, and elemental weapon damage increases your weapon damage for 10% for both. It's absolutely crazy, and you can have a constant supply of that, as you can see with your turrets. You're just constantly feeding Monochromatic Maestro to you. So you've got all this going on. You've got your Monochromatic Maestro, your stasis weapon surge, your rending. Rapid Fire Ranger is another one. Without blowing your mind, they blow my mind, but these all stack together. Rapid Fire Ranger, rapid precision hits against distant combatants, weaken them for a short time. It weakens you and for your teammates as well. You've got Whisper of Rending going on, 42%. The stasis weapon surge is going on. How many of them you want to run, that's up to you. Up to 22% for free. And you've got the Rapid Fire Ranger going on, and your Monochromatic Maestro. This thing is an absolute huge melting machine. And on top of that, you can even pair it with a lasting impression rocket launcher, so you can get all your extra damage on your scout rifle, weaken the target with Rapid Fire Ranger, and just let rip with your auto loading lasting impression rocket launcher, and things just go pop. It's absolutely crazy. You can see here it does some serious damage. You'll see like a little glistening on the scout rifle. It's a little bit like Sundering Glare from last season. Basically, I think that's all what it is. They've just changed the name. Maybe didn't want to bring Sundering Glare back, call it something else. It looks like a new thing, but it is Sundering Glare. Oh, and by the way, this scout rifle is an absolute monster against all different types of champions. The stasis slowing effect from this gun is really good for overload champions, because it slows and it also freezes, and when you shoot that freezy target that is frozen, it is also great for unstoppable champions as well. And it also does a little bit of work against barriers, but I wouldn't suggest running it for barrier champions. Elemental Charge is one that I always run on my legs because of the amount of stasis shards you can create on a Stasis Warlock via this aspect, Glacial Harvest. Every time we freeze something, you're going to create stasis shards. The bigger enemies, the more shards. That all pairs really nicely with the Scout Rifle's exotic perks as well. Now I'll just quickly go over my fragments and aspects. Most of these we've touched on. Bleaker Watch here, which we've already touched on. This is really important for an OSMIOMANCY build. Glacial Harvest is absolutely important for this build as well because of all the shards you're creating. Cold Snap Grenade is what you want to be running for your OSMIOMANCY gloves. With the Bleak Watcher you can convert both of them into Freezy Turrets, Healing Rift or Empowering Rift, whichever one you fancy. Whisper of Chains, while you are near frozen or friendly stasis crystal, you take reduced damage from targets. Whisper of Conduction to make all these stasis shards track to our position, works really nicely with this scout rifle. Whisper of Rending, which we touched on, a 42% damage increase whenever we freeze something with our primary weapons. And then Whisper of Torment, you gain grenade energy each time you take damage from targets. So all in all, you've got loads of damage resistance as well. Loads of ammo from the overflowing magazine via the stasis shards. A couple of weapons to also pair with this is up to you completely. I recommend something like Forbearance for close range combat or a shotgun, something like that. Weapons with Demolitionist is also a really good bonus for the OSMIOMANCY gloves build as well. But all in all, this scout rifle, they've reworked it a little bit. And the other thing to mention with this scout rifle as well, it is a primary exotic, so you do get plenty of heavy ammo drops. So maybe on your helmet as well, because you create so many heavy ammo bricks as well, you can run heavy ammo scout for your teammates, things like that. But the weapon feels like a different weapon from what it does last season, and this build absolutely maximizes the damage on it. I used this build and Titan build that I did last season with this scout rifle in GMs pretty much all season, and it's such a solid workhorse of a scout rifle, and like I said, this build just maximizes that. So the only thing I've really got left to do now is just talk about my mods. These are pretty important, I find, as well, so bear with me. Elemental Charge, I like to swap one of these out for a Stasis Weapon Surges just because it's an extra way of getting armor charges via picking up them Stasis Shards. So running one of them instead of a Stasis Weapon Surge is what I prefer, what I suggest. Time Dilation, your decaying armor charge is a longer duration. Reaper, every time you put a class ability down, your next kill is an orb. And then Bomber to reduce your cooldown on your grenade. My chest piece, I always run a concussive dampener, always, and then just match whatever I'm doing at the time, whether it's incoming arc or solar damage or void or whatever it is. The arms, I really like to run a bolstering detonation. Grants class ability, energy every time you cause damage with a grenade. And as well as getting a supply with the Monochromatic Maestro, you're always going to get a nice supply of class ability. Shield Break Charge is another one I like to run as well, just to buff my armor charges out. Harmonic Siphon, Rapid Stasis Final Blows, create an orb, Arc Siphon, or whatever other weapon you're running at the time. And then a Heavy Ammo Finder, and like I said, it is a scout, an exotic, so Heavy Ammo Scout is one to bear in mind as well for your teammates. But that's the video, let me know what you think. I'll leave a dim link in the video description. I hope you have a great week.